Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for exploring the subject photography in China. So before we start, maybe I should say several things more about the background of this talk. This talk is part of our M+ matrix this year, which is a series of the workshops, symposium, and public talks organized by M+, the new museum for the visual culture that will be the masterpiece of the centerpiece of the West Colonial Culture District in Hong Kong. Besides of the mobile M+, or exhibition program, M+ Matter is a platform which we can explore the critical issue with the key players in the field of the visual arts, architecture, design, and the moving image as we hone our pictorial and application framework. So we do welcome your participate for this course. So in 2012, we did like 3 M+ matters about the Asian design, ink art, and the museum architecture. So this year, well, my colleague Marcel started to do M+ this year. So she decides to go beyond the media category. So the subject this year is about artwork documentation, and we want to examine the overlapping and the anomalous nature of the convention categorizations. So basically, this year at mathematics is talking about when do artworks become the documentation, and when does documentation become the artwork. So, and this subject, the photograph, it will be the photograph as art, as a documentation, or as a document, as the reportage photograph. And very fascinating for us. So, and especially at us, it's a visual culture museum, not only a visual art museum. So that's become a very interesting subject for us. So this is why we put the photograph in China as a welcome program for these years and matters discussion. So this talk is dedicated to Liu Xiongsheng, and one of the most important Chinese documentary photographers. And Liu Xiongsheng was the first photographer of the Time magazine in China in 1978. And 5 years after, he published a very famous book, China After Mao. And he then joined the Associated Press as a foreign correspondent to photograph tours in Beijing, and followed by posting in Los Angeles, New Jersey, Seoul, and Moscow. In 1992, they received the Overseas Press Club Award and shared the Pulitzer Prize for the sport news for the coverage of the capture of Soviet Union. And in 1989, Liu Xiongsheng defined the photograph of the Tiananmen Square incident, was awarded the Picture of the Year by the School of Journalism at the University of Missouri. So the other publications include the Soviet Union, unpack, China, Portrait of the Country, and the Shanghai, the History in Photograph, dating 1842 to today, which collected with the Carrie Smith also today. And then thanks for Liu's great help, and then we have some photos from China, portraits of the century has been collected in our collection, and as well as some photos of China. So this year is particularly the 30 years anniversary of the first publication of the China After. And that's also the main reason why we put this talk here and now. And the second speaker today is Claire Thomas, our old friend, a creator and a history from China. So Claire is a senior lecturer in art history at the University of Adelaide and visiting fellow in the Australia Center on China in the world, Australia National University. And he has published widely on Chinese art and visual culture, and created many exhibitions, including the most recent one, Go Figure, Contemporary Chinese Culture, drawn from the Untitled collection and Untitled collection. And the most recent book is Photograph and the Child. So, and it is also my honor to introduce Professor Fu Zheng is the professor at the School of the Journalism in the Fudan University and the University Director of the Institute of the Visual Cultures. And his academic research interests are contemporary art in 20th century, contemporary documentary photograph in China, visual culture, and visual communication, as well as the history of the photograph. And his recent publication includes the postmodern photograph in the world, and also the contemporary photograph in China. So tonight we have first invited Mr. Liu to talk about the story, the background, the source of the book China Mao and the photographs. And then Claire will talk more about the relations between this photograph and their social, cultural, and political context. So furthermore, we're going to invite Professor Fu to talk about the recent development and argument about the Chinese pottery photograph. So it's not only about China, but we are more talking about the Chinese photograph after this. So yeah, so let's welcome Mr. Liu first.
Thanks, Mr. Pili, and for your kind introduction, and thanks to the curators of M+ for organizing this evening's discussion. And I will briefly just speak very shortly about my photographic assignments in China, which began in 1976 and it continues today. In 95, I cut my teeth, as they say, in photography by accident. In that I took a course with Mr. John Milley at Life Magazine, who took me in to assist his archive at Time Life. And just after one year, he said to me, "You should go to China." And before going to China, I also had a chance meeting by my professor's introduction to a gentleman who heads the Time Inc. or Time Magazine's publication. This gentleman says to me, he cuts to the chase, he said, "Young man, what would you like to do with your life?" I said, "Well, I would like to go to China." So actually before that, I had spent my early childhood days in Fuzhou of Fujian province, which had raised significantly my subsequent interest in China. Because that was the era of China, a person's life very much depends on how you were born into this life, who your parents were. China in that era of 50s and 60s and continued towards 1976 was a country, in Mao's words, that politics was in command, and that class struggle was written into the China's party constitution. So that's very much the background that was familiar to me, in that politics in China had in its earliest days of inception of the People's Republic of China has find a way to intervene in people's daily life. So by photographing daily life, in many ways, is a way of documenting politics and social and economic life, because everything was driven by the politics. I arrived at a time when Mao died, and I noticed a very noticeable change in people's facial body languages, and I felt perhaps a new era has dawned. And I said, if I would have a chance to come to China, this would be the period I would like to document. And the resulting work was, after 4.5 years, was published in this book, China After Mao, by Penguin, and how times move quickly. This is now the 30 years when some of these images were first published. So I will go through these images quickly, and then we'll invite all the participants to join and speak about them and answer your questions if we could. Right. So on the very first top left was the 1983 books published by Penguin, and on the bottom, this book with a Chinese title, it had waited 28 years to be published in Chinese in the People's Republic of China. And these the other books I have done when I covered the collapse of the Soviet Union, and China is a book that I added of China from 1949 to 2008 when Beijing hosted the Olympic. And last but not the least, the photographs by Mr. John Thompson, whose photograph actually also opens tonight in Hong Kong at the Maritime Museum. This is a book I did to mark the centenary of 1911, which was the collapse of the Manchu Qing dynasty and the founding of China's first republic. And from these pictures onward were the works I have done subsequently since the first book was published. This was one of the photographs I had taken during the turmoil in Tiananmen in 1989. In case, I think these photographs, for this audience, I would like to explain who this man is. Mr. Zhou Youguan, he is now nearly 108 years old. He was the founder of the modern Chinese romanization, the pinyin system. So he was actually born when the Manchu dynasty was toppled. And this is a photograph done in his house today. This is the last plates of 3 artists, just to show you the project that I'm working on. So I meant to go through these images quickly so that we will leave some time for the participants to talk about the subject of this evening of photography in China. Thank you.